The rain hammered against the glass walls of the coal estate like an impatient visitor demanding to be let in. Richard Cole, billionaire tech magnate, sat in his leather chair, gazing at the strange wooden box that had been placed on his desk, just hours earlier. It wasn't delivered by courier. It wasn't dropped off by one of his staff. No, his adopted daughter, Amara, had handed it to him herself. The 16-year-old's eyes had been calm but unsettling, like she knew a secret. Richard didn't. "Don't open it until tonight," she had whispered, pressing the small carved object into his hands. Then she left the study without another word. Richard leaned back now, staring at the box. It was heavy, locked with some kind of intricate mechanism he'd never seen before. Strange patterns ran across its surface, not decorative, but purposeful. Codes. His head of security, a grizzled man named Daniels, stepped forward. "Sir, this doesn't look right. Could be dangerous. Bomb. Bug. Anything." Richard's lips pressed into a thin line. "She's my daughter, Daniels. She wouldn't hurt me." Daniels frowned. "With respect, sir, we don't know enough about her." And that was true, wasn't it? Richard had given Amara everything, but she had always kept pieces of herself hidden. 2 years earlier, Richard Cole wasn't looking for a daughter, at least not in the traditional sense. His wife had passed away years before, and his adult son, Eric, had grown distant, choosing adventure sports and parties over family. But when Richard visited a local charity event for foster youth, he noticed a young girl sitting alone. Amara! Her skin was deep bronze, her hair pulled back tight, and her eyes, sharp, intelligent, quietly observant. While other kids played or chatted, Amara sat silently with a puzzle cube, her fingers turning. It over in a blur, Richard approached. "Most kids give up after a few minutes," he said. She looked up, deadpan. "Most kids don't pay attention." Something in her tone caught him. In her, he saw resilience, hunger, and maybe the loneliness he carried too. Weeks later, Richard signed adoption papers. The world's press snapped photos of the billionaire adopting a black girl. Headlines painted him as a hero. But to Richard, it wasn't charity. It was instinct. Something told him she belonged with him. And for 2 years, Amara became part of his world. But not like other daughters. She didn't care for parties, fashion, or his sprawling estates. Instead, she spent nights in the workshop, tinkering with electronics, hacking into his old systems, not to steal, but to learn. Sometimes Richard would catch her staring at the city skyline with an intensity that unnerved him. "What are you thinking?" he once asked. Her reply chilled him. "I'm just making sure we're ready." Now, back in the present, Richard stared at the mysterious box. Daniels hovered near the desk. "Sir, I'll have the bomb squad look at it." "No," Richard said firmly. "She asked me to open it tonight. That's what I'll do." Hours passed. The house fell quiet. At exactly 9:11 p.m., Richard turned the box slowly, examining the carvings. His mind sharpened. It was like a riddle, a combination lock disguised as art. With a click, the lid opened. Inside, not jewels, not weapons. A sleek black flash drive and a handwritten note. Richard picked it up. Amara's handwriting was sharp, deliberate. "You need to see the truth. Plug it in. Now." Richard hesitated, but inserted the drive into his encrypted laptop. The screen lit up with files, surveillance footage, audio recordings, financial spreadsheets. And then, faces he recognized. His COO, his chief financial officer, even a member of his board, all speaking in secret meetings, plotting behind his back. 2 years, Max, one voice said. "We take Cole out of the equation. His assets, his patents, the whole empire, it falls into our hands." Richard's stomach twisted. "Betrayal, right under his nose," Daniels cursed. "Sir, this is treason from inside your own company." Richard looked at the box again. Why had Amara given this to him tonight? Before he could ask, alarms blared. Red lights flashed across the estate. Armed men stormed the outer gates. Night vision goggles glowing, Daniel shouted orders into his radio. "We've got a breach. Full lockdown now." But the attackers were fast. Too fast. Richard's blood froze. How had they bypassed the sensors? Then Amara entered the study, calm, wearing black tactical gear. "Dad. It's happening. Just like—" "I told you," Richard blinked. You knew?" She nodded. "I've been tracking them for months. That's why I gave you the box. So you'd finally believe me." Daniels looked at her in shock. "Wait, you set all this up?" "No," Amara said firmly. "I set up this." She tapped a device on her wrist. Instantly, the house roared. To life. Steel shutters slammed down over windows, corridors sealed with reinforced doors. The invaders who thought they had trapped Richard now found themselves locked inside the billionaire's fortress. Richard's heart pounded as the house transformed into a battlefield. Gunfire rattled in the halls. Daniels and his men engaged. But Amara was different. She didn't fight with brute force. She fought with precision. Using the estate's cameras, she tracked intruders. Using hacked blueprints, she rerouted power to disorient them. Using sound cannons she had secretly built into the walls, she blasted attackers into confusion. Richard watched, torn between awe and fear. "You're just 16, he whispered. Amara didn't look back. "I'm your daughter, and daughters. Protect their fathers." The mansion shook as mercenaries forced their way toward the study. Richard braced himself, ready to fight if needed, but Amara was already ahead. She lured the last group of attackers into the grand hall, where she had rigged an EMP pulse. With a deafening crack, their weapons went dead. Lights flickered. And in that darkness, Amara struck, moving like a ghost, using every ounce of training she had taught herself from Richard's old security manuals. By the time Daniels and backup stormed in, the mercenaries were on the floor, restrained. Silence returned to the Cole estate. Richard stood frozen in the aftermath. Smoke. Broken glass. Fallen men. Amara stepped forward, calm, unshaken. Richard whispered, "Why didn't you tell me before?" Her eyes softened. "Because you gave me a home. I needed to prove I could protect it before asking you to trust me." Richard's throat tightened. Slowly, he reached out and pulled her close. For the first time since adopting her, he truly saw her, not just as the girl he had saved, but as the protector who had saved him. Amara's story is a reminder. Family isn't always about blood. It's about trust, sacrifice, and the courage to stand together. Tell me in the comments, do you think Richard made the right choice trusting Amara after her secrets, or was she too dangerous to believe in? I read every single one of your thoughts. If this story touched you, hit that like button. It helps more people find these powerful stories. Share this video with someone who believes real loyalty is stronger than money. And subscribe to Black Response right now, because we tell the stories others are afraid to share. And before you leave, don't miss our previous video, The Terrorists Laughed at Maya Until She Returned Stronger, Phase 2. It's right here on your screen. Tap it now and see how courage can change the course of destiny.